everyone. I hope you're doing well during week 1 of class. In this video, I am going to go over the guidelines and the topic and what you need to do for paper number 1. The video, the link to this video will be listed right here, and this is the page that I am going to go over. Guidelines for paper number 1, Conspiracy Theory. And again, it's a Word document, so you can click on it, look at it on Cobra, or you can download it to your computer. Alright, so one of my favorite shows growing up was The X-Files. When it first aired, I was in 6th grade. I loved this show. Normally in a face-to-face class, I would actually bring in an episode of this show and we would watch it. But if you don't know anything about it, this is the people who are in it. It's David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. And it started back in the mid to early 90s, and it's about 2 FBI agents who work on the X-Files. These are unexplained phenomenon type cases. And here we have Special Agent Fox Mulder. His sister was abducted when he was younger, and he always believed it was aliens who had done it. And so he is on the search for what happened to his sister. And then the department has brought in Special Agent Dana Scully to basically debunk his work. She is a doctor, a pathologist, and so she's always looking for the science, the data, the evidence to prove something is happening. And so here you could say in the show you've got the believer, as in Mulder, and you've got the skeptic in Dana Scully. And so they work on cases like UFOs, the fluke monster, large-scale government cover-ups, things like that. And so you've got this battle in each episode between Mulder believing in something and Scully being the skeptic and wanting to find more evidence. And so for this paper, we can see, and especially in today's world with conspiracy theories, there's a lot of people who are like Mulder and Scully. You've got people who will believe in theories and some who don't. And there's a lot of different conspiracy theories out there. There's the flat earth theory, extraterrestrials, who really killed JFK, a whole host of different conspiracy theories. So you've got the skeptics who are like, no, the earth is not flat. JFK is kind of a different one. There was a Warren Commission report and then a House committee where the House committee said it was more than just Oswald. Some skeptics believe that Elvis is not still alive, things like that. And so in the last few years with the current administration, the term fake news has been used a lot. People in the news, social media, and in everyday conversation find themselves saying something is, oh, it's just fake news. It's not real. And many wild conspiracy theories have made their way into our society, with some people kind of scratching their head going, how can people possibly believe this? So for this paper, what you need to do is pick your own conspiracy theory to write about. You're going to present what it is, what it's about, why some people believe it, why some people don't, maybe why it's garnered so much attention, why people still talk about it. And you're going to talk about, the usage of fake news and how people will tend to gravitate toward things even if they know that it's not true. And so in this paper, you'll do all that. You will pick your conspiracy theory, investigate it, and examine it from all sides. You need to begin by stating what your theory is, and then give the 2 sides of the debate. Be sure to cite everything you use from your sources within your paper. You're going to use in-text, parenthetical citations along with the works cited page. You're going to explore the topic, giving the counter arguments, concessions, refutations. Maybe you're not 100% sure it's fake, but maybe you're like 90% sure. It's okay to admit those kind of things. You need to think about the language and information you use, the stuff that you trust and the stuff that you don't trust. And so here are some bulleted points to keep in mind of what you need to include in your paper. You're going to create a thesis statement for your paper that states whether you are a believer or skeptic of this conspiracy theory, and we'll look at examples in the video for the outline when I go over it. You are free to use anything you wrote in the homework assignment, so the background journal or the answers to the questions about the articles. Make sure to give multiple points of debate on both sides. You want to explain the scientific proof that gives either proves or disproves your theory and have a reasonable and rational discussion about its validity in your opinion. Make sure to find flaws in the theory using your research and imagination. Include in your discussion, like I said earlier, why people are so interested in this topic. Why has this theory accumulated so much attention? What is it about your topic that people find appealing or engaging? And then your paper needs to include a works cited page. So the required sources that you need for this paper, you need to use at least 2 of the 3 fake news articles that I have provided for you on Cobra. And that means that you'll have to use both of those sources within your paper. So you'll quote from them, use the information from them. Then you can include up to 1 to 2 sources from websites, books, newspapers, magazines, journals, and the like concerning your conspiracy theory. So you need to choose sources that aren't just like a little paragraph on a website that talks about this theory. You want something more substantial than that. Something that really, truly, fully explains your theory, explain what the believers think in it, what the skeptics think in it. But I have to approve those sources and your conspiracy theory. So you will need to email me those sources along with your conspiracy theory in an email from your Parkland email address to mine by noon on Wednesday, September 23rd. Okay? If you decide to go ahead and not get my approval, you will lose 5 points on your rough draft and you will lose 10 points on your final draft. And then remember, you have to use in-text citations of a source, and they have to have a citation of the works cited page, and we'll talk more about that when we get to writing the paper. Technical guidelines for this paper: your paper needs to be 1,000 words in length. Okay, so that's about 3 to 4 pages. Now you will have a title page at the beginning and a works cited page at the end. The 1,000 words does not include both of those. So the paper itself, just the paragraphs that you write, those have to total 1,000 words. You will receive a 0 on your rough draft and or your final draft if it does not meet 1,000 words. In the video where I go over the outline and works cited and everything, I will show you an example of an essay and show you how I check for word count. You will be using font size 12 Times New Roman font type, and make sure it's double spaced. We won't use page numbers, so don't worry about those. On the first page of your paper, it's going to be the title page. You're going to center in the middle, give your paper a title, your name, you'll say paper number 1, conspiracy theory, and then the date. And then use font type Times New Roman and font size 14. You can include 1 or 2 pictures, that's fine. For some, like if you're talking about JFK, you might have a diagram of Daley Plaza, things like that. Try not to make it too huge, no more than 4 double-spaced lines, and you want to wrap your text tight around the picture. Be sure to use formal academic language. You want to avoid the yous. You want to avoid talking to your reader like that, okay? So instead of using you, ask yourself, who are you referring to? So maybe it's just people in general. Maybe you're talking about students, teachers, parents, kids, men, women, society, Americans. Be specific, okay? Be specific about who you're talking about. Using first person is fine. If you're talking about your own experiences, yourself, what you believe, what you don't believe, that is all okay to use. And then you're going to submit an electronic Word document of the rough draft and the final draft to the corresponding drop boxes on Cobra when they are due. And down below here in the red are the due dates for all the assignments for this paper. So the background journal, asking you background information on what you believe. That needs to be put into the corresponding Dropbox before 11:59 on Sunday, September 20th. Remember, the blocks will close at 11:59, so definitely put it in there at least 15 minutes beforehand. It's already open, so you can submit it anytime. Email with conspiracy theory topic along with at least 1 source that I need to approve. You're going to send it from your Parkland email account to mine by noon on Wednesday, September 23rd. Article questions, you're going to read the 3 articles, answer the questions. Those answers are due in the Dropbox before 11:59 on Wednesday, September 23rd. Then we've got the outline and works cited page to create. Those go in the Dropbox before 11:59 on Friday, September 25th. Then you have when you submit your outline and works cited page, I will email you back with corrections, things like that, stuff, notes. Maybe you need to change the order of paragraphs, whatever. Then you'll take that information and write up your rough draft. That will be due in the Dropbox before 11:59 on Wednesday, September 30th. Okay? Once you submit your rough draft, I will print it off here. I'm going to handwrite on it. I will scan those pages to you, and I will also email. In the same email, I'll put up my typed notes of what you need to change, and then the final draft will be due in the Dropbox Wednesday, October 7th, before 11:59 p.m. Okay, so make sure if you're pacing yourself and you're going at your own pace and you're ahead of time, that's great. But if you can't do that, if you have to kind of go on a weekly schedule, make sure you give yourself enough time to plan ahead to get all of these assignments completed. If you don't know what conspiracy theory to do, feel free to do a quick Google search if you like. There's a lot of different ones out there, and I always enjoy reading students' papers on this one because they've come up with a lot of different theories that I haven't heard before, and they're always interesting to listen to. Alright, so that was the guidelines for the paper. Next, you need to go into the pre-writing assignment. Make sure, as you can see, I've got these four here, but again, you don't see the instructions that I've also put in there, so you can go over to the left here, click on that actual folder, and there it shows the due dates and things. But here, make sure the background journal you get done and submitted before Sunday, the email with your theory and sources by Wednesday noon, and that night make sure that you read the 3 articles and get the questions answered and sent in. And then after that, we have to start writing the actual paper. And that is in this other subfolder, writing the paper, and I will have another video that goes through this information. If you have any questions, please feel free, let me know, email me, and we can talk. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll talk to you later.